Well, good morning, everyone. Hope everyone is well and safe. I know it's crazy times out there. There's a lot of you stuck at home and can't get out, or being told not to get out. But things around here are still pretty busy. Working quite a bit at work. Our product, so to say, moves the world, so we are essential and have to be there. So, with that said, get a little time out here in the shop when I can. And for those of you that not following us over on Patreon, I've started some restorations over there on a couple of pieces of equipment, and this was something I needed to go along with one of those equipment. So I went ahead and this was found on QRZ, and I went ahead and purchased it and got it in this morning. So we're going to take it apart and take a look at it and see if it works, and if it does, I'll be able to get that project on Patreon going along. Now, if you're not follow Patreon, you can do so. With Patreon, you do have to pay to become a member, but it's only $1 a month and up. Depends on what tier level you would like. So if you like to follow us on Patreon, links are always down below. Feel free to come on over. Well, let's go ahead and get this opened up and see what we have in here. So here is the item that was in the box, and it was just laying in there with all that stuff around it. It was laying with this side down, so not a whole lot on the bottom to get damage. And what this is a Drake AC3 power supply. And you can see a power cord and cable and speaker connector here. I have a fuse, and you can see that's 5 caps. Well, you can see one cap did not survive. It's looks like it's broke the rivet or screw or whatever that was holding it out. I don't remember seeing this like that in the picture, but I had to go back and look and see. But yeah, this is something I needed for a project that I'm working on over on Patreon. In fact, I've got 2 different units I'm working on Patreon with, and this is a highly needed piece to finish one of them, or to get one done like it should be. And the 2 pieces that we're working on Patreon, one of them is the Drake TR4. This is the older model. There's no noise blanker in it. And the other one is a Hallicrafter Cyclone SR400. 2 vintage pieces of equipment. They're both transceivers, and we're going through those over on Patreon. Okay, I went back and looked at the posting, and it did show that one screw holding this capacitor down was missing. So no problem there. Just guys, be careful when you're shipping this stuff like this. Double box thick foam is the best way of shipping heavy items like this. So I want to go ahead and turn this over and take a look at it, and we will be in the future rebuilding this supply. So the only thing that's going to be mostly used, transformer and chassis, but all these capacitors will be replaced anyway. So one thing that does make me happy to see is that all the original screws were in the bottom. There's 3 on each side, 1 on each end, and they took the time to put a label on here, 5 amp slow blow fuse, and all the rubber feet are on. So we'll open this thing up and we'll see what the inside looks like. We take a look on the inside, we can see that these 2 end capacitors, these metal can cap here, and this paper covered cap here, which is both for hundreds at 150s. has been replaced. You can see there's one cap here, and there's two over here. Now these two are in series, and we can see the other three can caps are still installed. We can see some of the original diodes have been replaced over here. Now we're going to strip all this out and rebuild this power supply, and we'll probably use caps similar to these. These are probably okay for that, but I don't like the way the circuit is done, so we'll get all this out and put it back in here the way it really should be. Still see we still got some of the older diodes in here. There's four sitting over here that we'll go ahead and get those replaced. There's one in 3194s, I believe what they are, but we'll go ahead and replace them with some NTE 116 diodes and get all these old caps out and get this supply rebuilt back like it should be. But I just wanted to test it today and make sure it's working. It was listed as working, and with those caps there being replaced, it probably is. But if we look here, we can see this tape over here on the side to keep the terminal, that resistor, from shorting the ground. I don't like that. There's also tape back in the back to keep this negative side of the capacitor from touching ground. So, you know, all this will be stripped out and put back. Now, you know, you can go online, you can buy a replacement boards for these things, and everything will mount on that board, and it'll mount to the side of the transformer. But I think I'm gonna just go back and just rebuild the circuit kind of back original looking. I want to go ahead and power this up, and to power it up, you know, normally the radio itself turns the power on, but we got pins 1 and 2 here. We'll need to jump, and we'll just insert these little terminals into 1 and 2. Then we can simply jump those out. We'll connect the DC voltmeter to it, and we'll bring it up on the variac and see how it works. Okay, I got the DC voltmeter connected to the high voltage on the power supply. I have pins 1 and 2 jumped out. We're going to bring it up on the variac, and we have our current limiter in place. So we should be able to see exactly what's going on and see if this power supply is going to work. Alright, current limiter's on. Go ahead and start bringing up the voltage, and we can see the voltage is already climbing. About 270 volts. I'm not seeing no glow in the current limiting bulb yet. Just now starting to see a glow in the bulb. And we're seeing about 624 volts with no load on it, which is fairly good. So now that we know that the power supply is working, go ahead and bring it down. We'll unplug from the current limiter, go directly into the AC outlet. One thing that's another nice attention to detail, and get this to focus, they've got hot written on one side of the plug. Then that's so you can plug it in correctly. Alright, we'll go ahead and turn the supply on. And you see with the variac and the current limits to that, we're up to about 720 volts on the high voltage. That looks pretty good. Alright, with that we'll go ahead and check our low voltage supply. And we're at 303 volts DC. Remember, there's no load on that. It should be about roughly about 250. And we'll check our bias supply. And it's about minus 52 volts. So that looks good. And the last thing that we want to check is going to be our AC supply. And it's about 14 volts AC with no load. So everything's looking pretty good on that. I don't see no problems with the voltages. Okay, I have a power supply connected to TR4, and I'm going to go ahead and check the voltages now with a load on it. That's our high voltage is at 712. Our low voltage supply is at 254, and our bias supply get it on the terminal is at about negative 41 volts. So our supply is looking real good. No problems at all. Like I say, it will be rebuilt though. We can't let the supply look like that. Expect it to perform correctly. So we'll be rebuilding that in the future.
Like I said, 58 to 59 here, Flick 6600 here with a 4 model bender at 75 foot. Go ahead.
Well, I think our little AC3 is going to be okay, and something else I'm going to do on Patreon is that I'm going to build a replica speaker box that this will mount into. It's going to be all sheet metal, so we'll be doing that in the future. The Drake power supply speaker combo, I've seen them go up high as $290, and I'm just not going to spend that kind of money on purchasing one. So we're going to sit down and make a replica cabinet to put this supply in, and that'll be nice. Now, if you have a Drake TR4, one of the things you can use is the heat kit. This is the 23A. Yeah, the HP 23A, and you see I had this wired up for the Drake, and that's what I was using to test it with. The only thing about the 23A is that it puts out about 800 volts on the high voltage, which is a bit more than what you need on the TR4. TR4 likes about 650 to 700, so this is about 100 to 150 volts too high. Like I say, they will work. You got to make sure you got everything in your Drake right if you go shoving 800 volts into it. But these little HP 23As are good all around supplies to use to test different radios with. Now, another project I got going on here for YouTube is the ICO model 488 electronic switch. Now, if you remember back, it was a couple years ago, Joe, one of our viewers, sent us this piece of equipment in, and after a long debate and decision making, I decided to go ahead and put this together because I can use this piece of equipment on the old time workbench. I have a ICO scope that this will match right up with. Now, if you don't know what an electronic switch is, this takes a single trace oscilloscope and converts it into a dual trace. You can attach 2 sets of probes to it, and that will increase the efficiency of the old oscilloscope. I already got started on it. I already got footage on it, and as you can see, basically I got all the controls mounted. I've got transformer, the choke, and the filter cap. Now, to start with, I wasn't going to use the old capacitors in this, but I decided to go ahead and use them. I'm checking all the resistors to make sure none of them is out of tolerance, because this thing is pretty old now. It's been around. It was completely boxed up when I got it, and like I say, it took a lot of decision making to figure out if I was going to go ahead and put this together or not. And the serial number, as you can see, I think, get the light on it, the serial number is 0005. So pretty old unit. So we'll get this thing together. I'll be getting some videos, and it'll be multi-part. I was going to put this on Patreon, but I decided to go ahead and put this on YouTube. And you know, Patreon has grown quite a bit, so you know, I do have to have stuff up there for my Patreons. They are, you know, great supporters, and they, you know, their support helps to finance a lot of the stuff that we're doing in the shop. Guys, I'm still working through getting all the parts together for the pine board project. You see the case is ready. It's all painted up. Looks good. We just got to get started on this. I pushed this back a little bit because I had so many other projects going on here in the shop that I just got to get finished up. But this is on the list to be done, and this will be a real fun build. Getting a AM transmitter in a metal cabinet, and we're going to add a lot more features than what the standard pine board project had. We'll probably be adding about a 25-50 watt amplifier to the inside of this also, so it'll have a little bit of power of its own. But we'll be getting to this sometime within the next couple of months. So I know a lot of you have asked about it, but yes, it's still in the works. It's just so much going on here in the shop, and projects in the garage, and general stuff in the house, and then there's work. So it you know, just we stay busy, that's for sure. Well guys, another project I got going on is restoring old vintage radios. I've already restored a Westinghouse AM FM radio from the 50s up on Patreon, and I got this one that I'm going to restore. This is the Zenith, it's the 6D219 radio, and it's AM and short wave. So this will be a pretty nice radio. It's all wooden case. As you can see, the grill cloth and the speaker is completely destroyed. It's got, I think these are wooden knobs. It may be, I hope they are solid wooden knobs. So that's pretty interesting. But this radio is from the late 30s, and you know, the case is not in too bad a shape. A little bit of the veneer is missing there, but other than that, you know, pretty much strip the case and get it sanded down and repaint it. There's some lines around it, so we don't want to sand too much of this off, of the veneer off, you know. And it's got a darker brown on a lighter brown around the bottom. It does have the back panel in place. That's a antenna wire. Go ahead and pull the back panel off. And you can see inside of it, it's very dirty. Most of your tubes got these shields around it. Now, one good thing about it, somebody has already removed that asbestos panel that goes across the top. It usually starts over here, comes all around, and comes down about half of this side. It's a big 1/4 inch thick piece of asbestos blanket. This has already been removed from this radio, so that is a good thing. You see the power cord has been cut off, and it's model 6D219. This may be the serial number R178712, made by Zenith. So this will be a pretty nice radio to restore. Everything is pretty much here other than the power cord and that asbestos sheet. And like I said, you probably can see up at the front, you can see right through where the speaker cone is completely destroyed in this radio. So I have to be either going to have to recone that speaker or find another one that's can be replaced with it. You can see it has the transformer mounted over on the side. It's a field coil speaker. So yeah, this will be a fun one to restore. So yeah, we'll be getting on this sometime in the future, getting this all stripped down, getting the radio working, and then go through the cabinet and get the cabinet. Look, I just always like the way that this radio looks, how it's round on this side and then round on this side. It's very interesting looking design, as you can see. So yeah, it'll be a fun piece of equipment to work on. I saw one of these go over on a antique site for about $1,100, and I thought that was just crazy. And I saw another one, I think it was on eBay, that went for about $1,300. I can't see that kind of money in a radio like this, but you know, whatever floats their boat. I know it'll be just a fun piece to restore. Okay, I think a few of you might remember I have a couple of SPE 36s that I'm working on. In fact, well, one of them I'm working on, the other one is going to be a project on down the road. But the same guy that owns that SPE 36 that I'm working on sent this to me, and I have never seen one of these rigs in person. I've heard of them, I've seen a picture of them, but I've never seen one. And this is the Robin 500, which is identical to the SPE 36. So this is going to be a project that's going to be way off in the future, but I just thought it'd be interesting just for y'all to see this if you have never seen one. You know, and it does have Nixie tubes in the display, just like the SPE 36 does. So this is going to be another long-term project down the road. And these radios, I have never seen one built by the same schematics. I have 3 or 4 different schematics, and none of the schematics actually line up with the radios. In fact, the 2 SPE 36s are not even built the same. There's a lot of different circuitry in both, so bit of a complicated radio to work on, but once we ever get all of them fixed, they'll be pretty nice. Well, there you go, guys. There's a partial lineup for Patreon and YouTube on videos to come. Lots and lots of projects. Don't worry, we got plenty to do. My goal is still to at least start getting out one video a week. That is my goal here in the future, but we'll just have to see how that goes. One thing that really causes things to run slow is that here lately I seem to take in stuff that, you know, I shouldn't be taking in. I'm getting little odd jobs here and there, and that's that's just taking up so much time. I want to get back to doing what I want to do here in the shop, instead of, you know, because when I come in I got stuff to work on. That's what I need to do, is be working on customer stuff. I'm not a repair shop, guys. I'm a hobbyist, and that's what I really want to get back to, and is to teach you guys how to repair your own stuff. It's really what I enjoy doing the most. So anyway, with that, we'll end the video with that, and everyone stay safe, take care, stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and hit that bell icon for notifications, and you can also join us over on Patreon. Click the show more tab for the links below, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye now.